So, I'd like to credit the person who even came up with this idea. War Axe Grixie, just a troll who trolls. This guy, he, like a week ago, he messaged me and he asked me to make this what if. So, I told him that I'd make it, and I have finally finished making it, and now I'm recording. So now let's get into the story. So for Ash to become like Paul, we would have to make a change in Ash's personality, a drastic change, and the catalyst for this would be simply a battle between two people. One trainer called Jason and another called Carl. Carl was a kind trainer who cared about his Pokemon and treated them with kindness. But Jason was a Pokemon trainer who trained them harshly and didn't treat them as friends but as tools. The battle would immediately commence. Carl and his Charmeleon. Jason and his Charmeleon, and Carl and his Dodrio. Charmeleon would easily defeat Dodrio. And then Jason would tell Carl that the reason why he lost is because he is kind to Pokemon and not hard with them, and that he sees Pokemon as friends, not tools. And with a mentality like that, you can never be a good trainer. And those who care about Pokemon are pathetic and weak people. And then Jason would leave, and Carl would then leave as well. A few years later, we would see that Ash would actually wake up on time, because he wanted to immediately go and get his top Pokemon and raise his Pokemon right. So Ash would get Bulbasaur, since it was his second option, because in this timeline, like the usual timeline, Gary got Squirtle, and I'm pretty sure that Gary stated that he has that being Professor Oak's son has its perks, which means that that means that Professor Oak saved Squirtle's. Oh my god, I can't speak properly. That means that Professor Oak saved Squirtle specifically for him. So Ash would instead get his second option, Bulbasaur. Shortly after getting his Tough, Ash would go and he would find a Pidgey. Actually, a Flock. And he would see that this Pidgey seemed to be the strongest. So he would use Bulbasaur to catch it. After that, Ash would make his way into Viridian City, where he would make his way into Viridian Forest. In Viridian Forest, Ash had seen lots of Pokemon, but he had ignored most of them because they seemed weak and pathetic, until he noticed a Weedle. Weedle seemed to be practicing. It seemed to be material for Ash's team, so Ash would swiftly catch the Pokemon and add it to his collection with Pidgey. After that, Ash would meet the Samurai and would battle him. Ash would use his Weedle against his Weedle against Metapod. Weedle to match Metapod would evolve into Kakuna, and this would be a long battle of Harden. Ash, getting irritated and tired of this long, stupid battle of Harden, would then switch out his Kakuna and switch in Pidgey. Pidgey would defeat Metapod with a Gust, but Metapod would have gotten in a few good tackles, which would annoy Ash that some static Cocoon got in a few attacks on a freaking bird, which would annoy Ash. So then Samurai would send in Pinsir. Pinsir would be strong, and it would easily be able to overwhelm Pidgey, which would shock Ash and make him very angry. And you would say, "What, Pidgey? Come back, you're pathetic. Can't believe that you would lose to a Pokemon that you have an advantage of." Samurai would pick up on this, but would keep quiet. Then Ash would send in Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, after a long and hard battle, would then overwhelm Pinsir. But then, after the battle, Ash, out of anger, would send in all three of his Pokemon and begin scolding them. Mainly Pidgey. He would return Kakuna and Metapod. Kakuna and Bulbasaur continue bullying Pidgey for how weak it was. Samurai would then get involved and say, "I've noticed how you've been treating your Pokemon. You shouldn't treat it that way." And I should say, "Who asked you for your opinion? Pokemon are tools for battle, not our friends. They are, and this Pidgey is clearly pathetic. I only raise a team of strong Pokemon, and that is the only way to truly become a good trainer." And then Ash would release Pidgey, shocking everybody there. And then Ash would say, "Since you like Pidgey so much, why don't you take it as your Pokemon?" And Ash would toss Pidgey's Pokeball to Samurai. Samurai would say, "Wow, seeing the way you treat it, I wouldn't leave it in the wild, having nightmares, remembering you, so I wouldn't mind taking it." And then, after that, Ash would encounter a group of Mankey, all three of them training, but the green Mankey would overpower the other two with ease, and Ash, seeing this, would use Kakuna to catch it, trying to give it some more experience. Kakuna would be taking hits but not dishing any back. Until then, it would begin to glow. Kakuna would break, and then out would emerge Beedrill. Beedrill would begin battling Mankey, and with a few Fury attacks and Pin Missiles and Twin Needles, it would overwhelm Mankey and add it to Ash's team. After that, Ash would swiftly reach the Pewter Gym and would use Mankey against Geodude, knowing his types. Mankey would easily overwhelm Geodude, but Ash would want to give Bulbasaur a chance, because he'd think that Onix might be strong, so he wanted his strongest Pokemon, and a Pokemon which had the best chance of defeating Brock's final Pokemon to come in. So he would switch in his Bulbasaur, and Brock would send in his Onix. Bulbasaur would fold Onix in half, and then it would evolve from the experience into Ivysaur. After that, Brock would give Ash the Boulder Badge, but in this timeline, Brock would notice how Ash treated his Pokemon, and how Ash only saw the victory as his own, but not a victory with his Pokemon. And Brock's dad, like in Cannon, would come and tell Brock to go pursue his dreams. But this time, Brock wouldn't decide to travel with Ash, since Ash was not a very nice person and only cared about winning and not his Pokemon. So, yeah, Brock would travel separately to Ash. So, after receiving the badge, Ash would make his way out. Ash would meet Seymour. The whole thing about the Moon's turn would go the same, but this time Team Rocket wouldn't interrupt. Then Ash would go into Cerulean City, and this time Ash would be one of the first trainers there. So the sisters would be at full strength. Since Ash was the first trainer there, and they would begin to battle. The Sensational Sisters would try and tell Ash that they battle separately, but Ash would get them to all battle in a triple battle. because he wanted to make all his Pokemon gain experience. So Ash would make his Pokemon go into formation where the Beedrill, with its all-out offensive style, would go after the defensive Shellder. Meanwhile, the skilled and powerful Mankey would go after the weakest link, Goldeen. Meanwhile, the powerful and strategic Bulbasaur would go after the powerful powerhouse of the team, Seeking. This strategy would work well, with Beedrill eventually whittling down Shellder, with Mankey pummeling Goldeen, and Ivysaur easily defeating Seeking. And Ash would think in his head that the training after the Pewter City Gym really worked out, and the formations that he got them in really worked out, because Ash would have thought like this, because he would think if he got a defensive opponent he would use Beedrill, and if he got a weak opponent he would use Mankey, if he got a strong opponent he would use Ivysaur. So he would receive his badge and would just leave. He would notice AJ's gym and would say, undefeated, that is about to change. And he will battle AJ. He will be impressed at how AJ treats Sandshrew. I would say, wow, now that is how a Pokemon trainer trains his Pokemon. This battle would be much more even than the one in canon, since Ash was a stronger trainer because of his brutality. So, after a long and hard fought battle, Ivysaur would win because of the type advantage, but not without almost fainting itself. And then AJ would be impressed by the way Ash treated his Pokemon and how Ash trained his Pokemon, and AJ would show Ash how he trained his Pokemon, and Ash would ask for a few harnesses and stuff like that, and AJ would give that to him. After that, Ash would make his way to Viridian City, and where he would hear about Surge, a brutal trainer who shocks his competition into submission. And then Ash would get interested and would begin making his way to the gym. And that's all I have today. Alright, goodbye. This was part 1 of What If Ash Was That Ball.